Free motion quilting can seem like Carnegie Hall. The only way to get there is practice, practice, practice. So I'm giving you lots of different free motion quilting designs, and you practice them on paper. Print out a diagram of the quilt block you want to use, and then you can audition your free motion quilting designs. Let's get started today with some ribbon candy in the old Maid puzzle block. I'm Andy, and this is True Blue Quilts, a place to enjoy, experiment, and excel as you quilt. We are going to quilt ribbon candy in the old Maid's puzzle block, and I use the word ribbon candy for a variation of this design. You may have seen a design like that with the loops touching. I tend to spread out my design, and some people refer to that as wishbone quilting. So whatever you call it, we're gonna play with this design, and it's based on a figure 8. So if you can just draw a bunch of 8s to get yourself warmed up and then start connecting them. That's the basic shape we are going to work with. And as I have done in previous videos, I'm going to focus on the dominant parts of this block, what I consider these shaded half square triangles, and we'll see how it goes. You can play around with any other motif you want to practice in those what are considered background areas. I tend to start in the upper left corner of my block, so I will come into this block and start with that upper loop. And continue down, and I want this to be a continuous line design. I'm going to practice moving from both sides, and you may see a difference in how easy it is to do the design from left to right or right to left. And again, find a traveling path around the block that works for your brain and how you visualize things. It may not be the same as mine, and that's okay. This is practice. We are working on our loops and trying to create a continuous line design with ribbon candy. And if you want to try some that touch and are much closer together, you can do that as well. And I'll come down here and loop from left to right in these half square triangles, and then I'm going to have to travel to get up to these last two. And stretching there across the widest part of that triangle. And if you wanted to just practice your big figure 8s, you could do that in the background of these squares. The thing about figure 8s is you always end where you started from, so it's harder to get them going across the whole quilt. And there, since I started up, it was hard to finish the loop. But we have plenty of room to stitch in the ditch in these blocks, and it's a good, so again, my loop is off there. It does, since I came in at that funny angle, it would be hard to then travel back and finish that design. All things to think about when you are doing free motion quilting. Where are your stopping and starting points? What do you need to think about as you are drawing or stitching? You can see my top loop is really narrow. My bottom loop gets a lot chunkier, wider there. Maybe if I go halfway up and start around, nope, that turned out just as awkward as the others. And this one I can kind of follow that cross point, and that one didn't turn out at all. So we add some extra loops in there just because this is a practice piece. So our ribbon candy or wishbone design in the triangles, and just some extra practice figure eights in the background of the old Maid's puzzle block. All 30 of the block diagrams that are featured in this sketch challenge can be downloaded at truebluequilts.com. I share the free motion design journey for finished quilts in my stitch stories, and I have linked one of them below so you can watch that video. I hope you find inspiration and have a great day full of quilting.